Hey, what is going on, people? This is Elder Tenchi back for another TMNT Rant Rave review. Now, since there was no new episode of the current Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles this week, I decided instead of leaving you hanging, I wanted to do a quick rant and rave, more like a rant and rave, no review, of two of the ongoing comics. Now, this is what they call a micro series. From my understanding of it, is just focusing on one character in particular. They get their own book, their own side story, but it's actually canon to what's going on in the current arc. So, let's start off with Casey Jones. Why am I starting off with Casey Jones? Because he was actually the first. This is actually the first of the micro series that I had bought. I had both of these in a stack, the Splinter one as well as Casey Jones, but I could only afford one, so I got Casey Jones. Casey Jones in this version of him is a pretty lighthearted character. Yes, he still does the vigilante thing, but that's not, you understand more of what's going on with him. I mean, he's got family issues, and when I say family issues, he's got an alcoholic father. He's got a relative who's sick and sick in the hospital. Him and his dad are always fighting. I mean, literally like fist fights. I mean, the first time he met Ralph, Raph was actually saving his life because he was about to get beat up by his dad. So he bum rushed the door and just started going at it with his father. That was all in. That was actually the end of issue 1 of the new TMNT, and going into issue 2. I did a review of issue 1. If anybody's interested, I will put the link in the description. I will also put an annotation somewhere on this video, so check it out. Anyway, so check this out. This is the art. This is the artwork. I always loved the way the art looks in this. It's kind of old school mixed with new school. It's gritty. You know what I'm saying? It's not always neat. It's exactly what you expect from a TMNT comic if you've read some of the 1985 comic books and then later on gotten into this one. So, like I said, this is something that just focuses mainly on one person, Casey Jones, and his father is not exactly in the best mindset. I mean, he's got guys going after him because of gambling, debts, or drinking, or fighting, or what have you. Casey Jones is also trying to keep his head on straight because he's going to school. He's got a relative, and he's got a close relative. I'm guessing his mom in the in the hospital. It's been a rough ride for him. On top of meeting the Turtles and getting into all sorts of scraps. I mean, stuff that he cannot control at this point. Yeah, a lot of the dialogue is actually in his head. There are conversations, there are speech bubbles, but they're not exactly. They don't take up the entire of the book. It's a short story that goes, once again, goes in with the current book. So if you haven't read any of these current books, you can always go and read the micro series if you just want to focus on one character. He also has a independent film that someone did that came out last year that was actually pretty good. If anybody's interested in that, I will also put the link in the description. It's called Casey Jones the Movie. Yeah. So that is crazy. That to me is crazy. I say big ups to anybody that's willing to do any kind of fan fiction, any kind of artwork. If you are a fan, a dedicated fan, and you got stuff going on, big ups to you. If I could draw, I'd do the same thing. Now, these were actually created by the same people that brought you Ninja Turtles in the 80s, and they're still doing it till this day, and it's just awesome to see how Turtles have kind of standed the test of time, really, because you can still talk to anybody about Ninja Turtles, and they will know exactly what you're talking about. And it will just sound fresh. Well, it does to me anyway. So, anyway, there's Casey Jones. Now, here is Splinter. Now, what I find interesting about this Splinter story is the fact that this is almost completely in Splinter's head. What I mean by completely in Splinter's head, he is narrating this entire thing. He goes into flashback mode while almost getting captured by the Foot. He's basically saying to himself, my boys think I'm, calm, cool, level-headed all the time. He wishes that was the case. That wasn't always the case. So it goes into his backstory, more of Splinter's backstory. Oh, there's a nice one of the Shredder right here. It goes more into Splinter's backstory as he's basically fighting for his life against the Foot. And they explain that he wasn't always the most level-headed kid. He was a knucklehead, not as much as a Rokosaki. But, hey, they always got into scraps all the time. There was times where he let his temper get the best of him. So his master would tell him, you got to chill. You got to cut that out. You got to focus. You got to clear your mind. It also goes into his relationship with not only his master, but with his wife to be, Tang Shin. Now, if you haven't figured that out already, in this version of the comic, Splinter is once again human that got turned into a rat. Yeah, at one point I had a problem with that, but whatever. It's not exactly a big deal. I've said this time and time again. I like the fact that he was a rat first in the first version, and then got turned into a humanoid. Like a humanoid rat, as opposed to just being human and getting turned into a rat. I don't know why, but I always found that more interesting. The artwork, once again, this looks more like a painting. Whereas the other one looked like a gritty drawing, these look like paintings. So big ups to whoever was doing the artwork. I kind of forget at this point. But this story is very nice. It's kind of deep, and it says a lot about the man that Splinter was. And to this, and to the point still is, until all this tragic stuff happens to him. So, another thing I like about it is, if anybody remembers episode 5 of the current ongoing Ninja Turtles cartoon series, they mentioned anger with Raphael, and how to focus and how to control it and all this stuff. I'm wondering to myself, are the creators of the current series reading the comics to get ideas? Obviously, they have to be. You know what I'm saying? Because you can't just get these ideas straight from watching the old series. And I'm sure they have a very creative team. I mean, look, we're already about 10, 11 episodes in, and the show has not disappointed. So, but if anybody's interested in these comics, definitely try and pick them up. Even if it's just a micro series. The micro series is good if you just want to focus on one character. But definitely check these out. Let me know what you think of this rant video. Like again, I didn't want to leave y'all hanging. So, and if anybody has anything that I might have missed, let me know. All right. Yeah, I'm just panning here. But anyway, I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for the night. Hope you enjoyed this rant and rave. More of a rant and rave than a review. And I will talk to you guys later. Peace, love, never be normal.